This is going to be a new feature I'm going to try to do. This is my review of Monday Night Raw. This was the May 4th, 2020 edition. This is also the go-home show for the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view. I don't know if you can still call it pay-per-view since it appears on the WWE network, but I've heard some inklings, some rumors that may no longer be the case. And the show opened up with the MVP Lounge. MVP is doing his chat show. And this week's guests were the women's entrance into the Money in the Bank match. So you had Asuka, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax. If you know anything about me, you know that I am a huge fan of Asuka. I've been a fan of hers for years, long before she was even in the WWE. And even though this is a talking segment, which I'm usually not super fond of, this segment was awesome because Asuka just completely killed it. She is so entertaining. Words can't even describe it, which is pretty sad for a review, but go ahead, watch. It's not hard to find. It's literally the first segment of the show. Asuka comes out. She sings and dances to everybody's entrance music. There's a great bit where she's singing Nia Jax's theme. It's adorable and funny. Shayna Baszler just gives her a look. So MVP starts things off by asking Nia Jax what are her plans to win the Money in the Bank match. Nia Jax answers, "'Cause I'm dominant. Have you seen how dominant I am? Can I even say the word dominant more times in a sentence?" MVP then throws it to Asuka, who yells at Nia Jax in Japanese. Most of it is about how Nia treated her partner and best friend, Kairi Sane. But she does go in to say that Nia Jax shouldn't even be on this show because she's got a big booty and she is apparently not a VIP. Then, Shayna Baszler gets all intellectual on us and starts talking in Latin. And then she gets into Asuka's face, and just when it looked like they were about to fight each other, they both decided to super kick Nia Jax right out of the ring. Then MVP is like, girls, save it for the pay-per-view. And that's the end of that segment. So next up is the Last Chance Money in the Bank Gauntlet match. Now, if you haven't been watching Raw recently, what happened was Apollo Crews showed up on Raw shortly after WrestleMania, and then he started whooping everyone's butt. He whooped so much butt that he was given a Money in the Bank qualifying match, and he won. And then the next week, he was on MVP's chat show with the other guys that won, and he got challenged to a match, and he had a match. And then he was so full of himself, he got challenged to another match that same evening, and he had that match, and then he got injured, and now he's out of the Money in the Bank. I don't really know what they're doing with them. It seemed like they were pushing this guy really hard, and then they just pulled the rug right under his feet. It's even weirder because due to the global situation, they have actually pre-taped the Money in the Bank match. And I'm thinking about the timeline, and literally, I'm pretty certain that they'd already made the decision not to put him in the match. And then they walked over and went, you know what? We're going to put you in this match, and then when it's time for the match to happen, we're going to write you off TV. I don't know what they're thinking. But at any rate, this was a gauntlet match to determine who was going to take Apollo's spot. Bobby Lashley comes out first. And surprise, surprise, the first person out to face Bobby Lashley is Titus O'Neil, worldwide. But Titus gets flattened faster than it would take him to slide under the ring. Next out is Akira Tozawa, who also gets destroyed by Bobby Lashley in almost the same amount of time. And then out comes Shelton Benjamin, who is someone I haven't seen in eons. He may have gotten a new theme. It's been so long since I've seen him, I don't know. He actually puts up a bit of a fight, but Bobby Lashley also eliminates him. And then out comes Alberto Carrillo, and Lashley beats him up so much that the ref is like, stop beating this guy up. And Bobby Lashley pushes the ref out of the way and gets himself disqualified. And this is such a harsh and mean and dangerous position for the ref that I actually missed it and was like, why is Bobby Lashley disqualified? I don't know. I assume they do this because they didn't want him in the Money in the Bank match, and they didn't want him to look weak, so they thought the ref throwing him out, kept him strong. So Bobby Lashley is out. He is beating up Humberto, and then the next person in is Angel Gaza. Angel, spends most of the match beating up Humberto, and then Humberto defeats Angel Garza with the most devastating move in all sports entertainment, the surprise roll-up. So next out is Austin Theory, who also suffers from the surprise roll-up. Now, Humberto has been out, and he has eliminated 3 guys now, but he has basically had his butt handed to him. So out comes the final entry, and it is AJ Styles, the grave, and he murders Humberto. Huzzah! AJ Styles wins. He is going to be in the Money in the Bank. AJ Styles cuts a promo. He says that he is not a zombie. Yes, I was buried, but now I'm back, and I'm going to win that match, even if I have to throw Rey Mysterio or Aleister Black off the top of WWE HQ. And my sister was barely watching the show, went, did AJ Styles just say he was going to murder a man? And yes, so if any of these guys fall off the building, AJ Styles has got a lot of legal problems coming his way. So then Seth is out there, and Seth cuts a promo. It's okay. It's out in the middle of the ring. I don't think it needed to be as long as it was. It's pretty much the exact same thing he's been saying for weeks. But, it is what it is. I don't know why that needed to be in the ring. I guess to spice things up because of what's going to happen a bit later down the line. So then we have a backstage bit where MVP is now managing Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne. Gives them some words of advice. They are going to take on the tag team of Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Now, a couple weeks ago, Ricochet and Alexander beat Vic and Thorne. And that's why MVP's like, I think you guys are pretty cool. I'm going to manage you. Now, I like Ricochet. I like Cedric Alexander. And it seems like they had some momentum. They were getting a push. I was hoping they'd continue on their winning ways. When they announced this match, I was not excited about it because now that you have MVP managing these 2 guys, I'm like, well, you're not going to get a manager and then suddenly lose. But I really didn't want to see Ricochet and Cedric Alexander have their momentum squashed. But that's pretty much what happened. So next week, they'll probably face a couple jobbers and get their win back and be stuck in a never-ending cycle of 50-50 booking. So next up, we have the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders. Now, when they initially made the match last week, I thought it was a championship match. I was much more excited about it because I was like, wow, they're going to have a championship match, like literally the Raw before a big pay-per-view? What's going to happen? Something crazy, I assume. Well, it's not a championship match. It's a non-title match. And the Viking Raiders won. So I'm pretty certain in a couple of days, I'll hear that they'll announce there's going to be a tag team championship match at the pay-per-view. And either the Street Profits will be victorious or the Viking Raiders will win. I don't know. Then we entered Promo City. There was a ton of promos. Everybody was cutting them back to back. The only one that I found particularly interesting is Aleister Black. He was in a dark, smoky room, and he said, so, AJ Styles, you plan on throwing me off the building? Well, you better hope I die on the way down. Otherwise, I'm climbing back up, and I'm going to murder you. And they even gave him spooky, suspenseful music. And I went, they're really doubling down on that murder angle. I'm pretty certain somebody's gonna be thrown off a building. Maybe it will be AJ Styles, since after all, he's the one that suggested it. And he just came back from being buried alive. Maybe AJ Styles can't be killed. He's like Captain Jack Harkness. He'll just come back in a couple of minutes. So then Charlotte Flair came out and she cut a promo. She was interrupted by Liv Morgan. So we got an impromptu match. This is another case that's sort of similar to the Ricochet and Cedric Alexander tag team match. I could kind of see the booking written on the wall. I like Liv, and she's been getting a bit of a push recently, and I didn't want to see her momentum crushed, but I didn't see them having her go over Charlotte Flair. They did give her a nice competitive match, which is good, but I really think that they missed out on an opportunity, specifically due to the fact that last year she had a match against Charlotte Flair, and then she disappeared from TV for about 6 months. So, I think they could have done a story where she, wanted to prove herself, and that's why she was gone. She was training, and now this was her redemption. You could have had Charlotte Flair you're a nobody. The old, tortoise in the hare thing, not paying a lot of attention. And this would be one of the few times in which, the surprise roll-up would have actually worked really well, because you could actually have Charlotte not realize that she got pinned. This would give a huge boost to Liv Morgan because, here she is. She beat Charlotte Flair, but it was not to happen. That was main event time. You had Drew McIntyre versus Buddy Murphy. For the most part, it was fairly one-sided with Drew, kicking Buddy Murphy's butt for most of the match. Although there was a really great spot where it looked like Buddy Murphy was going to do the Claymore kick. He even did the countdown, but he wasn't quick enough because it was dual Claymore kicks, and Drew kicked Buddy Murphy's head off to get the 1, 2, 3. Seth attempted to do a sneak attack while Drew was celebrating, but it was not to be. Drew was too smart for that, and we'll see what happens at the pay-per-view. I do feel that I must mention throughout the show they had clips from previous Money in the Bank matches and the aftermath of those matches. Now, for those of you who do not know, the Money in the Bank match, they hang a briefcase high above the ring, and inside the briefcase is a contract for a title shot of your choosing whenever you want to do it. So the wrestler that wins can cash in that title shot whenever he feels it is the best time. And one of the most infamous Money in the Bank cash-ins is when Seth Rollins at WrestleMania cashed in right after the Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns match. What makes this interesting is that they edited Roman Reigns out of the clip. Now, if you don't know, Roman Reigns was supposed to face Goldberg for the championship at WrestleMania, but due to concerns over the virus, opted to drop out of the match. And he has pretty much not been mentioned on TV ever since. So the question is Vince McMahon so mad at Roman Reigns? Are they erasing him from TV? I'm very curious to see if he will appear in the opening credits to SmackDown this week. He's got a very prominent role in the opening title sequence. I wonder if they're going to replace him. As I said, this was an okay episode of Raw. Unfortunately, its biggest problem was the first hour really contained most of the stuff that I was interested in seeing. The first hour had Asuka in it, and it had the gauntlet match, and it had the return of AJ Styles, and for the most part, that was what I really wanted to see. Unlike the rest of America, I apparently will sit through an empty arena show, even if it's only okay, because in my opinion, there's nothing else to watch on Monday night. I'm sure as hell not going to watch The Bachelor. Well, I might review Raw again next week. I may not. This is a new segment. Thumbs up if you like it. Write in the comments if you think I'm boring as hell, or if you think I'm great. I am trying to generate as much content as I possibly can, so let me know how I'm doing by thumbs upping and writing stuff in the comment section.